Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in just 3 days, we're going to have a look at what the next Social Security increase is going to be looking like. So we'll be covering that. Plus, we have a new proposal called a Blitz proposal where we'd had this new election and it would basically decide who the Democratic representative is going to be. And we're going to have Joe Biden drop out within the next week. So we're going to be covering that as well. But before we dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm. And also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our first story of today's video, and of course, in just 3 days, we're going to have a new projection of what exactly the next Social Security increase is going to be looking like. That's because in 3 days on July 11th, that's when we're going to have the next inflation numbers coming in. So basically, within the next few months, we're going to know exactly what the next cost of living adjustment is going to be looking like. And in particular, next month's inflation reading is going to be one of the most important readings that we've had over the past year. That's because that's going to kick off the first month of the 3-month average of what we're going to be taking and comparing to last year, and whatever that is increased by is what the cost of living adjustment is going to be looking like. So you can see up on the screen there the schedule of release for the consumer price index. So once again, in just a few days on July 11th, we're going to have the inflation data for the month of June. And then next month on August 14th, we're going to have the inflation data for July. That's going to be one of the most important months. And then September 11th, we're going to have the inflation data for August. And then finally on October 10th, we're going to have the inflation data for September. And whenever that data comes out on October 10th, that's when we're going to know exactly what the cost of living adjustment is going to look like. Now, according to the most recent ruling last month in June, we had inflation coming in and we had a new adjustment at 2.57% according to the Senior Citizens League. So they say that our model points to a substantially lower COLA for next year after the 3.2% COLA in 2023. They say the 2025 COLA prediction is about 2.57%, down from 2.66% last month. So basically it is trending down just a little bit. And they go on to say that this year's COLA will be important because many seniors said it didn't keep up with their real life expenses last year. Among the roughly 1,550 participants in TSCL's 2024 senior survey, 69% said their household cost rose faster than the COLA last year, with costs for food and housing leading the way. So basically they're pulling these people and they're saying that, yes, sure, even though we did get that 3.2% cost of living adjustment this year that came into play last year back in October, even though we did receive that increase, our expenses are actually rising faster and higher than the cost of living adjustments that we're actually receiving. So the COLA is basically supposed to keep up with inflation, but it's failing to actually keep up with inflation because people are seeing it. People are seeing money leaving their pockets faster than what is coming in. So the way they, pretty much give out these COLAs obviously are not the best way. It's not really reflecting the cost of what people are actually spending money on. Now, they go on to say the fact that the COLAs have become less and less likely to keep up with inflation over time. As shown in the chart below, just one of 5 COLAs implemented so far in the 2020s, 20% has outpaced inflation compared to 40% in the 2010s and 60% in the 2000s and 1990s. So over time, the way they calculate what the cost of adjustment should be is becoming less and less effective. And you have to wonder if that's being intentionally done. And there's different proposals out there to make the cost of living adjustments better and bigger each and every year, but lawmakers really don't seem to care to put those bills on the floor for even to have a vote. Now, what exactly would it look like if we had a 2.6% cost of living adjustment next year in 2025? Well, you can see up on the screen right now what people are receiving, whether you receive SSI, whether you're a disabled worker, or whether you're a retiree. So basically for SSI recipients this year in 2024, you'll be receiving $943 at the maximum. With a 2.6% increase, that would boost your benefit up $25 per month. As far as disabled workers, you'd be receiving a $40 increase up from $1,537 up to $1,577. And then as far as retirees go, you'd be receiving an increase of right around $50 on average, up from $1,907 up to $1,957 in 2025. Now, moving into our other story of today's video, we have sort of a new proposal out there that would basically remove Joe Biden from office. Not exactly now, but whenever his term comes to an end, he'd basically be dropping out of the race. And we'd basically be having like this blitz primary. This was first reported by Semaphore. So we're going to be looking at this article here where it says blitz primary could open up Democratic race if Biden drops out. So as the Democratic Party convulses over questions about President Joe Biden's mental fitness, a pair of well-connected Democrats is offering an optimistic plan that would involve the president stepping down as the nominee and the party announcing a blitz primary process ahead of the August convention. So basically, this is what it would look like. So first off, Biden would step down as the Democratic nominee in mid-July. That would be within the next week or so, and announce the new system with backing from Vice President Kamala Harris. Potential candidates would have a few days to throw their respective hats in the ring. The Democratic Party would then begin a primary sprint in which the 6 candidates who receive the most votes from delegates pledged to run position-only campaigns in the month leading up to the convention. The blitz primary would involve weekly forums with each candidate moderated by cultural icons such as Michelle Obama, Oprah, and Taylor Swift are among the names floated in the memo in order to engage voters. The nominee would ultimately be chosen by the delegates using ranked choices voting before the start of the Chicago convention on August 19th. So this would have to move very, very quickly. And then finally, it would be announced with plenty of fanfare on the third day of the gathering. The memo imagines the nominee unveiled on stage with Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton. So, basically that's their plan. They're going to run this blitz campaign and hopefully have someone to replace Joe Biden very soon. But in response, of course, a Biden campaign spokesperson pointed to comments made by the president last week about remaining in the race. He said, "I'm not letting one 90-minute debate wipe out 3.5 years of work. I'm staying in the race and I will beat Donald Trump," he said in Wisconsin. And also, according to this most recent article here by The Hill, Biden says that Dark Brandon is coming back while campaigning in Pennsylvania. So whether or not they can actually convince Biden to step down and not run in 2024, especially being as motivated as he is to face off versus Trump, that might be a very, very difficult task. Unless we have members of the Biden family, especially his wife, at least in my opinion, really convince him to step aside, I don't think we're going to have enough people in the House, even as influential as they might be, or in the Senate, to convince Biden to step down. But leave your thoughts in comments below. Do you think that Biden will be replaced to face off against Donald Trump this November? Again, I think it's going to have to happen within the next month or so. Once we get into, let's say, August and September, at that point in time, it's probably, obviously it's going to have to be way too late, especially after the Democratic convention takes place in Chicago. At that point, I really don't know how they could actually, replace Joe Biden after the DNC, kind of makes them their guy. But again, we will have to wait and see what happens. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.